Volunteers are hugely important to the hospice. We simply couldn't do our job without them. The patients that come into day hospice, they come in with a volunteer driver. Without those volunteers, many of the patients just would not be able to come.
From the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, downwards, everybody's dedicated to patient care, and they do a fantastic job. And why do they do a good job? Because all the patients and their carers and many of their relatives say they're able to live as full a life as possible because of the hospice.
When I retired, I wasn't ready to give up work and to stay at home. I don't have many hobbies as such, so I looked into volunteering, and I guess because of my association with the hospice through my husband and my mum and a very close friend, it seemed the obvious choice to me to come here and volunteer and do what I could. I just felt I needed to give something back for all the help that they gave, not just me, but my family as well. They were wonderful.
Just over 11 years ago, we lost our mum to pancreatic cancer, and she was cared for by the hospice. And shortly following that, we felt that, my sister and I felt that we wanted to give something back to the organisations that had supported us and supported her.
You know, they helped our family in our hour of need, and I want to give back. I want to give the time back, and I enjoy it. It's nice. We meet new people, and we promote a charity that's really important to us.
I started volunteering here when I took early retirement from my previous job, and I wanted to do something useful rather than sit at home writing a book or whatever people do in retirement.
We've got 150 volunteers who help support our shops, and we just could not do it without their hard work, effort, creativity, brilliance that they do every single day for all of us in all of our shops. They're giving up something so valuable, which is their own time, and so hopefully they get an enjoyable experience when they volunteer.
I enjoy the volunteering because I never know what's going to happen next. I used to come in 1 day a week, I now do 2 because I enjoy it so much.
I like working here as a volunteer. I like working with Andrew, who I get on really well with. I like helping people, I like sorting stuff out. I'm a very practical person. So yeah, I really enjoy it. I feel useful.
I love volunteering. I really get a lot of satisfaction out of it. I feel that I'm doing something worthwhile, which staying at home I would not be doing.
And when I found out about the work that Florence Nightingale Hospice was doing, I just felt compelled to actually offer my time to try and make things better for them.
Just over 3 years ago, my lovely lady died here, which was a big shock. And 20 years ago, my mother died here. And I also had friends who died here. So it seemed that I was very much involved with Florence Nightingale Hospice. So I thought, well, why don't I get more and more involved? So I volunteered, which I enjoy doing. People say to me, don't you find it depressing? But I don't find it depressing, and I don't find it unhappy. Just enjoy working with everybody here. Everybody's so lovely and friendly. I just enjoy everything I do. I look forward to coming here.
The number of people that have been helped in the hospice, in the community, it's such a family-orientated charity in that respect.
About 6 years ago, there was a bit of a tragedy in the family. I lost my wife. Being on your own after 50 years marriage is pretty difficult. Many times passengers say to me, it's very nice of you to do this for me, but it's a two-way situation. They're helping me as well.
I was a social worker for 30 years, so I had a lot of involvement with the hospice at Stoke Mandeville Hospital. Also, my brother had bowel cancer and was only diagnosed for 2 weeks before he actually passed away. He was in a ward which was very noisy. He was very upset and very anxious, and I managed to get him into the hospice, and it was peaceful, it was quiet, it was calm. The staff were amazing. He was very tall, so his feet stuck out the bed, and the nurse went and got him some pillows to rest his feet on it, and it was just stuff like that which was amazing. So I needed to give something back.
Everyone's so grateful and everyone just loves being together and just promoting the whole charity is just so important to everyone that's there. It's yeah. And it's so much fun, isn't it? We love going to the Buck show. It's such a fun day.
I have the opportunity to use some of my skills to give something back. Not that you need to have a particular skill to be a volunteer. Anybody can volunteer. It's just a great place to be. It's not a sad place. It's a very happy place. We have a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and it's great to be part of this little community.
My enjoyment really comes from the people themselves. That's what I enjoy about it. They're inspiring. They may be in difficult circumstances, facing the greatest adversity in their life, but they're living their life out, and they inspire me.
I enjoy being in the office and doing the rotas actually, which is probably quite boring to a lot of people, but it's nice and I feel I'm keeping my office skills going.
The Young Ambassadors for Florence Nightingale Hospice charity was set up to try and encourage young people to give of their time, whether that be at a public event or whether that be doing a challenge event, so skydiving.
We've attended some schools and done some career fairs and stuff like that, and just encouraged people to ask us questions about the hospice and also how we volunteer and what time we give up.
I've really enjoyed helping at major events like the Midnight Walk, where there's lots of volunteers, and so you can see lots of people that care about local hospice care. Also the beer festival is great because it's a different group of people within the Aylesbury and North Bucks community coming together.
I'm quite involved with the Tree of Light because that is a natural progression of what I used to do when I was working, because of my involvement with the bereavement service as well.
At the minute, on a Thursday, I work in the Aylesbury Hospice charity shop, which I have never worked in retail in my life, but I love it. It could be I'm helping run a store with some other volunteers. Cake baking, anything they want me to do, I'm happy to do. And I'm also an ambassador, so I'm quite happy to go out and talk if anybody wants to hear about the hospice at any time. About volunteering, what do I enjoy the most? Camaraderie, the purpose of what we're doing it for, the receiving, the other end. I've worked in the hospice, so I know how important all of those monies raised, and every bit goes back into them, not just for that poorly person in the bed, but for the extended family, the friends, and it continues after the bereavement service. You cannot comprehend, unless you've worked in that place, just what the charity means. And so that, for me, volunteering, I think of that every time I'm fundraising, stuffing envelopes, folding raffle tickets up in the market stall in the pouring rain. You know, this is always a good reason to be doing it.
The ambassador work I really enjoy because I can go out there and actually explain to people that I don't just work for the charity. I've worked as an employee for Florence Nightingale, and also I am a volunteer, and I've also been a user as well. Because my husband needed the help from my colleagues towards the end of his life.
Working for Florence Nightingale is a pleasure and a privilege, and it's wonderful to be a member of such a fantastic team.
There is a feeling of togetherness about all the staff, everybody who works for the hospice, the patients and their carers and family.
I think it gives you opportunities to develop your skill set in an area that maybe you don't have that skill set because it doesn't come into your work or your family life. And I think it's good to meet a whole range of people all the way through, from the 93-year-old volunteer that is skydiving for the hospice through to young children doing some of the challenge events.
Most people would make a great volunteer because there's lots and lots of things that they can do for us, and we've got volunteers from all walks of life, all different sorts of experience. But I think the thing that they've got in common is that they care. They care about the hospice, they care about raising money for the hospice, and they care about running our shops the best they can be so that we can do that for people.
I would say to anybody, if you've got some spare time, try volunteering. It's a great way of meeting people. It's a good way of having fun, and you feel like you're giving something back.
Being a volunteer at the charity means many things. Come along, get companionship for a good cause, and you'll get so much reward, more than monetary. You'll get friendship, you'll get support. Getting a real feeling of worth and extreme value, I have to say. You know, and every minute you do and donate your time is for a very worthwhile cause. Anybody that wants to raise funds for Florence Nightingale Hospice, because it is a well worthwhile charity. And from my heart, thank you everybody that's ever given.
I would just like to say thank you to all our amazing volunteers. We couldn't do it without them, and we'd be lost without them.